Good morning, Mob Squad. So I'm back and I'm just literally working right now. Well, I'm starting. Well, I've been working because it's today is Thursday and it's 10 o'clock, and I just felt led to make a video this morning just talking about knowing when to stop. Basically, just knowing when to stop with anything, knowing when to walk away, give up. Kind of like I had talked about it a little bit yesterday on the video that I made when I was like, I talked about just knowing when to walk away, and if it come back, it was meant to be, like not forcing it, not forcing the process with anyone or forcing someone to be a part of your life or forcing yourself in someone's life. We shouldn't have to constantly ask for the same things repeatedly from a person, especially if our expectations are clear up front. Um, it shouldn't have to be repeated, especially, if the expectations are clear and it's not something that's just too hard to do. And I think sometimes we tend to do that, just repeat ourselves over and over and over and over to people, thinking that it's going to change the outcome, and that doesn't change the outcome. That just tires you out and gets you frustrated, right? We have to know when to stop repeating ourselves. It's not healthy for us. And if someone wants to give us what we're asking them to give us, we don't have to say it 25,000 times. Like, it's unnecessary. It's crazy that we do that. And I think sometimes we do that because we just, I don't know, we have expectations that we want to be met from a certain individual or people, or our people, because it can be in any aspect of your life. We have a certain expectation, and we feel like that they can meet this expectation, and sometimes they can't. It doesn't matter how much you want a person in your life, sometimes they're not able to meet your expectations. And I want to let y'all know that that's okay. It doesn't mean that that person is a bad person, or that person doesn't care, but a person can only give you what they're able to give themselves. And that's what I have learned through this process, through my journey. Like, I can only give somebody what I'm able to give me. I can't pour into somebody something that I have nothing to, like, I can't pour into somebody something that I'm not pouring into me. We can try, we can say we're doing it, we can say we have done it, but if you're not giving it to yourself, you can't give it to anyone else. So my thing with that being said is, we have to remember that pouring into others something that you can't give yourself is not possible. You can think you're doing it, but you're not doing it if you're not giving it to yourself. So what I mean by that is, if you um okay, so for example, if you are not loving yourself correctly, you cannot love someone else correctly. I don't care how much you feel like you are loving that person correctly. And this is more of my mental health thing that I do. You cannot pour into somebody something that you are not pouring into yourself. If you're not loving yourself correctly, if you're not healthy for yourself mentally, you cannot be healthy for anyone else. And I realized for years, from my children all the way down to friends, to romantic relationships, to family members, I could not love them correctly because I didn't love Camila correctly, right? I had to love me correctly. What I mean by that, if I'm pouring more into another human being than I'm pouring into myself, I'm not loving me correctly. So if you're doing that, you're not loving you correctly. You're not. And I even had to talk to my youngest about this. My that, because she always wanted to She always wanted to help others. That was her thing, was helping others. Before if she sees somebody else struggling, she'd be like, oh, I'll help you with that. And I had to kind of, I mean, it would be the littlest thing. Like if I was in the kitchen and she just happened to be in the living room, and I would drop something, I would see her like trying to come and hurry up and help me. And she would be doing her own thing. And I had to get her to train her brain. When you see somebody is having a struggle with something, or something alters what they're doing, you're not obligated to help all the time. You're busy doing something. You don't have to come over here and help me. But I know that's because she was so accustomed to seeing me. That, like I say, all of that do as I say, not as I do, that we was taught in our younger years, it doesn't make sense, because your children are always going to do as you do. So you have to model the behavior. So she was doing that because she was so accustomed to watching me do that. Sorry, y'all, I'm looking at a message I got. But she was so used to me doing that, so she was just automatically trained to do that. But now she's better at it. Like she can see, like I can drop something now, and she's not in a rush to just jump in and do it. And I have to say, hey, Alicia, and I love her for that. And that's what I'm saying. We have to condition ourselves to pour into us first. They did a great example on, you guys know I watch a lot of stuff about Christianity and mental health. And I was watching something, and I actually posted it on my Facebook. I'm gonna actually grab it and post it on my community tab here. But it was really good. She had like a pitcher of water, and she put a trash can, because she was doing some type of presentation. I'm not sure what it was. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. That's not the important part. But she had a pitcher of water, and then she had a trash can, and she gave the lady, she had someone to come for the audience, and the lady came up and she gave her a bag. The bag was empty, but she took a jug of water, a gallon of water, and she put it inside of, she gave it a picture. That was the picture to symbolize her. It showed her pouring into herself. So that was all of her strength right there in that picture of water. And then they were saying how God had blessed her abundantly. That's basically what the lady was saying. He had poured into her all of the things that she needed, so on and so forth, so on and so forth, right? And then after that, she went on to say, okay, but after God helps you, he got you the job. He got you, all these things that you desired, God answered you. He filled your mental health up. You're doing good with that. You got the relationship that you want. You got all of these things that you want. And then people start asking for things from you, and you start pouring into them. Even if they're not asking, you see they need, and you're pouring into them. So she told her, okay, and she started putting bricks in there with the gallon of water in the bag that the lady had on her shoulder. She would add a brick in. She just started naming things that she was helping others with and pouring into others. And as she kept naming the things, she had to pour a little bit. For every brick that she put into the bag, she had to pour water into that trash can, right? So, of course, after you pour into everybody else what you don't have for yourself, you end up with nothing, right? So she had absolutely nothing. So then she told her, okay, at the end of it, her pitcher was empty, but she still has this gallon of water. She opened up that gallon of water, told her to start pouring the gallon of water into the pitcher. After that, she had a little bit, probably a fourth of the gallon of water left in the jug, and she had her pitcher also filled up. So she told her, this is what you have left to give everybody else. But the pitcher that was filled up, this is yours. You don't give that to anybody. You give them what you have left. Don't take away from yourself. And I thought that was a great demonstration of what we need to do. And some people won't understand it, especially once you grow in your mental health, your spiritual health, because the two come together. I know it's a lot of people who say, oh, if you got God, you don't need to do counseling. You don't need therapy. I need both. I need both. God gave me, God is the one who helped me find my therapist that I have. I didn't find him on my own. I found a lady on my own, and God kept leading me to my therapist that I have. And I was like, I don't want a male. I don't want a male. I don't want a male. But he led me to him. And so that's more indication just how you know therapy and spirituality is tied together. God gave them the tools to get the knowledge that they need to help you with your mental condition. So for those of you who say, I got God, I don't need therapy, I don't need counseling. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. It is so necessary, especially with the way life is lifing right now for us. We need therapy. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to be ashamed of to have a mental disability either. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You guys know I'm very transparent about disability and what I have, and my family doesn't even mind me sharing what they have. I suffer from anxiety. I do. I have severe anxiety. So a lot of things I'm very uncomfortable. I used to be very uncomfortable with. Like what I'm doing now, having a whole YouTube page, I wouldn't have did this not even a year ago. Definitely not 10 years ago, because I was so uncomfortable, like speaking out and doing all of those things. And I've always had a lot to say. I would just be quiet and not say it. And now that's not me. And I'm loving the fact that I'm just able to pour into people now and speak about so many different things. But you guys, you cannot be healthy for anyone else if you're not healthy for yourself. That's the bottom line. It's no in between. Even if it's a mother, it's crazy, because we see so many mothers in denial about the things that they have done to their children. Once your children are teenagers or preteens, adults, and able to act, and fathers, not just mothers. Let me back that up, because it's not just us women, men as well. But when our kids come to us and they start telling us the things that bothered us about, or we go to our parents either way, because as a 45-year-old, I have things from my childhood as well that bothered me. And a lot of times when children, adults go to their parents and they start talking about, this bothered me as a kid, and I'm still struggling to this day because of it. They're not open to that conversation and having that, just talking it out and talking through it. Like for me with my mom, I don't hold anything against her anymore, because we've had those conversations, and we've had the conversations about where she was at in her life at that time. And like I just said, she couldn't give me something that she couldn't give herself. And I respect her so much now for just being able to do what she needs to do so we could tackle it and we could be honest with each other and have that conversation, and for her to open up to me and just share things with me that she's never shared with anyone. You know, it was a blessing. And I think as parents, we have to be open to that. We have to be open to those hard, rough conversations. That way, we're giving our children the tools that they need. When they see us doing it, they're able, when they get to be adults, to have those uncomfortable conversations, right? And I just encourage any mother that has an adult child, or father who has an adult child that's coming to them and saying, this affected me when I was a kid and it's still bothering me to this day. Listen to them. I had to do it with my oldest daughter. And when she was 18 is when I had to do it with her. And it's still days to this day when she's about to be 23, where she just had those damn moments where she's thinking about that. And it's a, mama, I just don't, today I'm having a bad day. I'm thinking about stuff. And it's like, okay, I have no choice but to accept that. Am I human and not perfect? Yes, I am. So I have made mistakes. Even with Leisha, I've came to her and apologized and told things that I know affected her from my past. I've came to her, people that I chose, you know, just different things. Like it can be anything. When I was a mother that was yelling and screaming to get my point across and all of that, you know, that hurts children when you just can't have a conversation with them and treat them with respect. It hurts them. Like, and they're not getting anything from that. right? And that messes with them mentally. So a lot of times our kids are going through so much at school, or even if they play football, basketball, soccer, any type of sport, you never know if they're being bullied at school or in practice or what's going on. And then they come home and you're attacking them verbally and emotionally. So they're drained. That's a lot. That's stressful. That can mess with their mental health because I don't have a safe place. So mentally they're drained because they're thinking in their head, I don't have a safe place. I'm not safe at home. I'm not safe at school. I'm not safe on the field. Where am I safe at? You know? So, excuse me. We have to remember that. We have to remember that we need to be our children's safe place. And sometimes it just goes with the way that we're talking to them. And that's, like I said, even with our adult children, if they're hurting because of something we did in the past, be open to the conversation and never give up on the idea of having the conversation. Even if you have a stubborn child that's always saying ain't nothing a problem, but you're seeing that your relationship is strained, you're seeing that something is wrong, keep that door open and let them know it's okay for you to walk through this door at any time that you feel you need to. If you see yourself repeating the same pattern as you did not like from your childhood, fix the behavior. And it doesn't have to be exact, right? Because with me, it was not exact. Like, it wasn't every little thing that my mom did, because we all know when we have children, it's always those things where you're like, I'm not going to be like that when I have kids, and you really don't be like that. But it's certain things that you do just pull from what you saw, because again, you're doing as you saw. Like they say, it doesn't make sense what our parents and grandparents said, do as I say, not as I do, because you learn the behavior. It's something that you see, right? So mental health is just so important, and it starts with us. And we have to definitely know the signs, not even with just our younger kids, but with our adult kids. We have to also make sure we're doing right by them mentally, and not just our kids. If you're in a relationship, if you're married with your spouse, not just with your spouse, with your family members. We know when family members are having a very, very, very hard time mentally, and we can either support it. If it's someone who don't want the support and they're not willing to do the work for themselves, sometimes we have to separate ourselves from that family member or from that friend, or from anyone, co-worker, because co-workers struggle mentally too, and some of them are they'll just be doing the most, and you may have to separate yourself, excuse me, because it's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for you mentally, especially if they don't want to do the work. If they don't want to do the work, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense if they do not want to do the work for you to keep trying and trying and trying and trying. You will have to release yourself, like I said. But if it's a child, I would not give up. I will give them their space, but I will just every so often let them know that the door is open and I'm here. I love you. I support you. Even with the family member or friend, you can also do that. But then some people, we just do have to close that door completely. And that's also okay, because if it's not healthy for us, the door has to be closed. And that's basically what I wanted to touch on today. That's what God led me to pick up the camera and talk about, just not forcing anyone to be in your life and give you what you need when they're not doing it. Like, it's not it's not healthy, and it's tiring. It's mentally draining. Like, so don't worry about it. If they don't want to give you what you're requiring, let them go, because they probably don't even have it to give it to themselves, right? So we can't force something on someone. We can't force someone to feel some type of way. We just can't. And a lot of people do that in today's society. You're begging one person to give you what someone else can give you also naturally. Or you can just give yourself as well. So remember that. And I don't even know if this is kind of all over the place, or you guys get what I'm saying. I hope you do. But mental health is so important, and I keep telling you that. And mental health and being spiritual goes side by side. They go side by side. You pray. If you're not someone who believes in counseling and therapy, pray about it. Do your research. Don't listen to no one and what they telling you to do. Do your research for yourself and find out. See for yourself. God will let you know. And then also research will let you know. It's even counselors that are spiritual counselors. As a matter of fact, Potter's House in Dallas, Texas, if you go onto their website, they actually offer free counseling for yourself, for children, and also couples. And it's completely free. And you can do it weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. And that's the Potter's House in Dallas, the one, TD Jakes. So it's so many different opportunities. So if you can't do it financially, if you can't do it because of financial issues, I'm giving you a free resource right there. The Potter's House. That's TD Jakes Church in Dallas, Texas. If you go onto their website, they offer free counseling for yourself, for children, and also couples counseling, marriage counseling. And I don't know if they do premarital, but I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. And also, if you have a church home, a lot of times, a lot of pastors and ministers and things like that, they have some kind of background in counseling, so they can help you even with that. If you just don't want to go to a counselor that has no spiritual background, they offer it. But it's just so important. Like it helps you drastically. Like I'm gonna tell you, like I'm a 360. Well, I'm probably ain't no full 360, y'all, but I've done a lot of changing because of the two, me pairing the two together. So, and that's what I was telling my therapist yesterday, that it's almost been a year that I've been with him, and I've changed so much, and I just thank him for my my growth in the way that he does it. I know why God sent me his way, because his technique is amazing. It's amazing. And he makes me figure it out for myself. He's not a therapist that tells me what to do or what's needed. He gives me the tools and allow me to build it myself. But you guys, remember to always go down God's road and not your own road. It will be a lot easier. Sometimes it might look like it's harder, but that road will always get you where you need to be. I love you guys. And today is Thursday. So happy pre-Friday. And I will see you guys later.